Imagine walking into work and discovering that the receptionist, the self-proclaimed queen of the office, has been secretly hoarding dozens of candy bars meant for everyone. Now imagine that same receptionist trying to sabotage your career by throwing you under the bus, only to have her entire little empire of stolen chocolate bars exposed in front of the boss. This, my friends, is a story of sweet. If you've ever had a toxic coworker who thought they were untouchable, hit that like button right now. Subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories. And trust me, you don't want to miss the satisfying ending to this one. When I got hired at this small business, I thought it was going to be a calm, professional environment. 10 of us in the office, a handful more in the shop out back, and about 50 guys working in the field. I was the accounting and payroll manager, responsible for making sure dozens of employees got paid correctly and on time. It was real responsibility. I had 2 people under me, and I reported directly to the owner. Then there was Karen. Karen was a receptionist. On paper, her job was basic. Answer phones, handle mail, schedule appointments, order supplies. Sometimes she ran personal errands for the owner and his wife. But in reality, Karen thought she ran the place. She strutted around the office like a queen bee. If you came in 2 minutes late, she'd raise her eyebrows dramatically and tap her watch like you were a child. If the boss wanted something done, she'd deliver the request with a smug little smirk, pretending like she was giving orders. And worst of all, if you weren't in her inner circle, things mysteriously got delayed. Packages didn't get mailed. Supplies took forever. Phone messages got lost. Everyone knew dealing with her was exhausting, so we'd often just bypass her and do her job ourselves. Now, the owner was a nice guy. Every so often, he'd stop at Costco and bring back snacks for everyone. Boxes of granola bars, candy bars, little treats to keep morale up. He'd drop them in the kitchen for us to grab. And every time, Karen would pounce. One day, I caught her practically skipping past my office, clutching fistfuls of Snickers bars like a pirate who'd found buried treasure. Later, one of the shop guys, Kevin, came in, and I told him to grab a candy bar on his way out. He chuckled and said, "Does Karen know about them? If she does, there won't be any left." That's when I learned the truth. Karen wasn't just grabbing a couple treats. She was hoarding. Every time the boss brought in snacks, she'd raid the stash and squirrel them away in her desk. Sure enough, when I went to check out a full Costco-sized box of candy bars, there was only one left. At first, I just rolled my eyes. Annoying? Sure, but not worth a fight. Until a couple of months later, I got called into the owner's office. On his desk was a letter. A big, scary-looking tax penalty notice. Now, if you work in accounting, you know this is the kind of letter that makes your blood run cold. The owner looked at me sternly and asked, "Why am I just now seeing this? Why didn't you bring this to me earlier?" My heart sank. I'd never missed a deadline in my life. But apparently, this letter had been opened before it reached me. And then it hit me. Karen, she'd gone to the mail on my desk, a huge violation, saw something juicy, and instead of leaving it for me, she ran straight to the boss. She wanted me to look incompetent. Luckily, I knew exactly what was going on. I raced back to my files, pulled out proof, and called the state assessor's office. Turns out it was a clerical error. Every business in the county had gotten the same bogus penalty notice. We were in the clear, crisis averted. But I'll tell you this. In those 15 minutes of panic, something inside me snapped. Karen hadn't just been a petty candy hoarder anymore. She had crossed a line. She tried to throw me under the bus in front of my boss. That's when I decided, it's payback time. One afternoon, Karen was out running errands for the boss. He needed some paper clips, so he stopped by her desk and started rummaging through drawers. I saw my chance. I walked over to help him look. And then, jackpot, we opened a drawer, and there it was, Karen's treasure chest. Dozens of candy bars. 35, maybe 40, piled up like she was running a black market snack shop out of her desk. The boss froze. For a second, he just stared. Then, without a word, he scooped up every last candy bar and carried them into his office. He spread them across his desk in neat little rows. It was like evidence in a courtroom. Karen came back from her errands, humming to herself, sat down, and opened her drawer, probably to reward herself with another stolen treat. The moment her eyes hit that empty drawer, her face changed. First confusion, then shock, then panic. And right then, the boss stepped out of his office and said calmly, "Karen, could you come in here for a minute?" I wish I had a recording of her expression. Inside, the boss laid out the candy bars like damning evidence in front of her. He asked her to explain. She tried to claim she was just taking her fair share. She argued that she worked harder than anyone else, so she deserved more. The boss didn't buy it. She was given a formal reprimand and strict rules. From now on, if he brought snacks, she wasn't allowed to touch them until everyone else had had a chance. For months afterward, she was like a scolded puppy, quiet, cautious, and stripped of her queen bee attitude. And the best part? The boss took that massive candy stash and gave it all to the guys in the shop. The next day, Kevin walked in grinning ear to ear and said, "That was the sweetest Snickers bar I've ever." Sometimes, karma doesn't come in a grand, fiery explosion. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the form of stolen candy bars laid bare on a desk. Karen thought she could bully, manipulate, and cheat her way to control. But in the end, her greed and arrogance were her downfall. And honestly, watching her little candy empire crumble was the sweetest revenge of all. If this story made you smile, smash that like button right now. Tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest but most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And of course, subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories. Because trust me, the next one might just be even sweeter.